Amazing, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome once again live. Today we're live with Aaron Butler. Hello, Aaron. How are you? I hope that I pronounced well your last name.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. I'm very good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine as well. Where are you based currently?
I'm based in Derry in the north of Ireland.
Amazing, North of Ireland. So, we're going live today together to discuss. I invited you, and thank you for accepting my invitation because I've seen recently such a great, let's say, that you have activity on LinkedIn. At least that's where
Yeah.
I follow you.
Yeah.
So, I believe that you're doing a great job with content marketing. So, I thought, why not to go live and discuss about your growth, LinkedIn maybe, and your successes, so as to be able to motivate other people. So we're waiting people to join us live. In the meantime, guys, you can use the comments below and let us know that you're here live with us. And also you can drop your questions in the chat. So let's start by introducing yourself, Aaron, because I believe that we've been live before, but it's been quite a time. Is that correct?
Yeah. We were live. I think it was before I
So maybe some
started the
people,
program.
they've never been with us. So let's reintroduce yourself.
Yeah, no problem. Well, my name is Aaron Butler, as you've said. I'm a freelance translator. I work with Spanish to English and between Irish to English as well. I've been a freelance translator for just over 3.5 years and currently specialize in legal, medical, and pharmaceutical content. And not long after the program, I actually got a job as well, two positions as like a language lead
Wow.
for it was account so and so it was account through an intermediary, but it was for Google and for Microsoft.
Okay.
And yeah, so currently most of the stuff I work with is medical content, and I've been doing that pretty much since I started.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's been going quite well. I have recently, as you said, about
You had contacted those clients?
yeah. So some of it has been me contacting them, or they have found me online. And at the very beginning, it was through like things like pros.com and everything, so people found me. And I imagine then just through searching on LinkedIn as well. But what I've noticed from most of my like analytics that I've been looking at is yeah, people have been finding me a lot through like comments as well, through like comments on other people's posts
Wow.
and
Okay.
everything. So it's quite it's been a good journey so far, and yeah, I'm enjoying it all. So
So we're going to discuss that in more detail. So thank
yep.
you so much. So I see people joining us. Let us know where you're watching us from, guys. I'm always curious to find out your location. And also, if you have any questions related to our topic today, because initially Aaron would like to talk about specialization, cutting edge with expertise. So maybe, Aaron, we can start with that, which was your initial idea. And then we can delve deeper into content marketing because as you see, guys, you can see also the actual t-shirt that Aaron is wearing. So it's a part of your branding. So I think that you're doing a great work. I teach specific things in my programs, but you've taken that into a step further. So each of you, you take the knowledge and you elaborate. And of course, your, I think, branding and content marketing strategy on LinkedIn is totally your own work. You've done a lot of work. And of course, we can talk that at the second part after we discuss about your topic. And of course, I would be very curious because for those that do not know us already, your participation in the fully booked translator formula, in case someone would be interested in learning more about the people that have already joined my program. So let's start with the topic that you see here on your screen, guys. And also, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments. So would you like, Aaron, to start with the topic getting an edge with expertise, like what you would like to discuss on that? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, you're asking me. Sorry, I thought you were asking for the.
Okay. Yeah. I was asking you, like, if you would like to start with the topic, like getting an edge with expertise, because it was your inspiration.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, sorry, I was just going to say. So the first thing about specialization is obviously it separates you from everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very beginning, I was taking on sort of any project that I wanted, or that anyone really offered. And it was a whole range of things. Like some things were like automotive and everything, and it was just a lot of topics. Some of them were like educational, and really it was just to get my foot in the door, really. But it's not the things that I actually wanted to do. And really, I wasn't working with clients who I wanted to work with in the long run, and with people. Basically, the people who were contacting me were all like one-off projects, and I wanted to work with people who obviously had a big stream of things, big stream of work, and the people who do that is, well, obviously the people who have a big audience as well too. So I started to look into the things that I would actually really like to do, and the first thing I thought was, well, I'd actually like my work to have meaning. I'd like the words that I translate to actually impact, like, because some of the stuff that I've done, like stuff like user interface, it's obviously good and it helps people, navigate programs or software and everything. But with the likes of like medical content, these the words that I translate could end up, help saving someone's life maybe, or they can help improve their lives or anything. So the first thing to do was to obviously decide what I wanted to do with that. And I had been receiving a lot of medical content, and I had, just a sort of fell under it in a way, like sort of, I've heard a lot of people say this before, that their specialization in a way has found them in a way.
Yeah, I've been also discussing that many times, that sometimes life finds you. But I think that's the most common question of people, that they would like to start out right now, or they would like to gain a specialization, like how to do that. So in your case, specializations found you, or it was something that you did, let's say, on a consistent basis in order to get into that field?
Well, it was definitely something that, like, I didn't just decide to do it as well too. It was a lot of people had found me, and then the work kept building up. Obviously, the work that I was delivering was obviously of good quality, and word just kept getting out. Sort of, I don't know if it was through references or anything.
Of course, references.
And yeah, it sort of snowballed from there. And as a result, I started to get a lot of legal work as well too. And I mean, the actual legal itself is, when you have like medical and pharmaceuticals, the sort of content overlaps in a way, but then legal is always in behind it as well too, and that connects all three of them really. So it does. So I just happened to really get the sort of work, and I built upon that through content, and then through actually looking for people who actually work within these fields and who actually need my services. So it was initially, it was just the work found me, but then I built upon that by actually then going looking for this and trying to expand this.
That's very interesting, because I think people, they get inspired by your story as well, because not everyone has the same path that they start out. I always recommend like to choose your specialization based, as you mentioned already, your passion or something that you're really interested in. Like you mentioned that you would like to make some impact, and also what you're very good at, because you're going to spend, the whole day looking for a term. It means that you need to delve deeper in and learn more about that specialization. So I would suggest someone, if they would like to start from somewhere, is where they already feel very confident, they have some skills already, they really like, or they're into that specialization. Of course, some kind of need in the market, depending on what are their language combinations. But your story definitely reflects, I think, most of the real, let's say, examples of people getting. But in your case, apart from self-satisfaction, as you mentioned, self-fulfillment that you had in your mind by getting into that specialization, what else have you seen, let's say, in your business, your career, that getting into that specialization, becoming specialized, really helped you with your business, apart from the self-satisfaction, as we mentioned already?
Well, in terms of what I've noticed, you mean in terms of like the people who are contacting me, or?
Yeah, in general, your business growth, like you see, for example, getting specialized, that is easier for you to create a brand, to create content, to grow online, to find more clients, to promote yourself as a go-to expert. Have you seen any other, parallel results that from becoming specialized or niching down?
Yeah, definitely. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I was sort of doing a lot of general work. So it was a bit of everything, automotive, educational. That has all stopped, pretty much.
I remember sports as well, insurance. I remember when
I started with that because I have experience with insurance as well too. but I actually have in-house experience with insurance.
Okay.
And that was when I started, I initially thought that this was, everyone had a specialization. So I thought, right, I'll choose something that I know and that I know that I can do. And as I was doing it and as I was looking for clients and I was setting up meetings and everything and things were going well, but it really just wasn't something that I sort of wanted to do in the end of.
Yeah, when you do something you really love, I think the things happen easier for you. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would totally agree, because everything I was doing in terms of insurance felt forced, because I didn't, as I said, I didn't really want to do it, but I knew there was a need for it, but unfortunately it was just something, as I said, didn't really fall into it, or I didn't really fall in love with it, and I didn't really see my words having the same impact as what they could in terms of legal. Well, insurance falls into legal once again because it's contracts, but in terms of medical and pharmaceuticals, I didn't think that insurance had the same impact.
Amazing. And since the topic that you decided is getting an edge, which means like differentiate yourself from your competition, is that correct? Like with expertise, how this has helped you already to differentiate yourself?
Well, in terms of
get the edge.
yeah, well, in terms of the people who contact me now, everything is related to medical. Well, I get the odd one that's not, but mostly I separate myself from the people who are just being general or who are generalists, general translators.
Yeah.
And that makes me the go-to person in terms of like Irish translation, because I've had a few clients who have mentioned that they find it really hard to find somebody who works with both medical content and the Irish language.
Wow.
Which is great in that sense for me, because obviously, as I said, that separates me from the rest of the generalists.
Well, you were able to fill in a gap, most probably, in your language combination. Yeah. There was a gap there to fill in. That's a great idea for people that are watching us. If you see in your language combination that's a gap, like Aaron just described, maybe that would be an option for you to delve deeper and to become specialized in that field. That's a great idea as well. So in Irish, there were no such specialized translator, and that's how you were able to attract more direct clients and agencies that they are specialized in those fields of yours. That's amazing. Is there anything else you would like to add about this topic before we continue to the next one, Aaron?
I think it's something that you keep working at as well too. This is something like currently I'm doing a course on medical device regulations.
You attend or you present the course?
No, I attended. So it's like an online self-learning.
Oh, that's nice. So, that's nice. Interesting.
Just adds another layer of knowledge and another layer of skills, let's say.
That's interesting, yeah.
And there are stuff out there that's free in terms of this topic alone. But this was, this is from an accredited body in Ireland. So it is. Really? And then it means then when I go to the likes of conferences or exhibitions, then when I'm talking to my ideal clients,
so you get clients as well there. Okay.
Yeah, well, basically I have the knowledge of what I'm talking about as well too. Exactly. I actually understand the conversations that we're having about everything, and I'm not just there saying like, hello, I'm a translator, can actually engage in the conversation and but be like a real be a real person in that situation, don't feel like a bit of an imposter.
There is a common misconception in our industry that in order to become specialized or to niche down in a field, you need to take courses, which in your case was not the right, let's say, sequence of things that happened. You actually went into that specialization, starting getting projects, and after receiving feedback from your clients, then you started also taking some courses. Why I mention that? Because I get so many questions from my mentees and people I work with that in order to become, like they are telling me, I cannot become a legal, for example, translator because I've not taken courses about legal translation. And sometimes, we cannot be doctors in order to do medical translation. The same thing applies with legal. We cannot be all of us lawyers in order to be able to translate efficiently and successfully legal text. Of course, taking courses really helps you to become more specialized, or let's say the go-to expert in your field, or to get in touch with your direct clients through exhibitions, as you mentioned, or conferences and so on, to know what you're talking about. But that, I would like to add, that shouldn't be the reason, to hold us back from choosing a specialization or accepting projects because we haven't already taken those courses. Those courses, they exist out there. We can always add them in our budget and take those courses, but it's not the reason why Aaron, for example, became specialized. He just add those courses in order to delve deeper, in order to become the go-to expert, in order to, for example, I assume, Aaron, you do that also to gain confidence, as you mentioned, to get in touch with your direct clients, to know what you're talking about, and of course, to optimize your CV. Maybe to be able to add more things on your CV, your portfolio, LinkedIn profile, and so on. So that really makes sense. I see people still joining us. Welcome, everyone. If you have any questions, use the chat below. Let me know where you're watching us from. I'm always curious. And of course, if you have questions about Aaron, because I assume that most of you know Aaron from LinkedIn, he's doing a great job. And we're going to show some statistics of his results that he has achieved so far. It's a great role model, Aaron, to actually, for those that they are considering starting posting on LinkedIn. Aaron, if you have LinkedIn or any other open, just close it because I hear my voice. Do you have any tab open?
I don't. I might have this.
Okay, so I was hearing my voice. And of course, if you have any questions related to this topic, you can drop your questions in the chat and we can get back to you. We can answer those questions with Aaron. Also, if you have questions about content marketing, how to get ideas, how to get out of your comfort zone. Aaron, he's been doing videos live, like podcasts, amazing. So Aaron is the best person here to answer all of your questions as well. And of course, for those of you do not know us, Aaron has joined like 2 or 3 years ago in 2023, the Fully Booked Translator Formula. So if you have any questions about the Fully Booked Translator Formula, the 12-week business mentoring program, we can also discuss that. And also I would be very curious to find out what were Aaron's main takeaways after a few years now, so he can review his progress and his growth with us. So let's get deeper with the second topic of our today's talk, which is actually content marketing. Most of the translators, we feel that we are introverts. We don't really like to create content. Most of the people that come to Virginia don't have the time to go daily, creating content, posting online, or even creating videos like you do. And of course, I'm telling people you don't need to do everything. You don't need to create content if you don't want to. But you are a great example, Aaron, because you are already fully booked. You mentioned that you get already a steady flow of high quality clients in the fields of expertise of yours. But at the same time, I see that recently you've been really consistent with your content creation, at least on LinkedIn. I don't know if you're active on any other platforms. You can always share that with us. But definitely because I've been, let's say, we are connected on LinkedIn, I see that activity. And the other thing I would like to add, which I mentioned earlier, the reason I invited you is because you've taken a step further. Everything that you've learned in the Fully Booked Translator Forum, you create those T-shirts, for example, with the color of your brand, with your logo. And for me, that's branding. That's your real example of what branding means. You do the videos with screens behind of you with your logo. That's also another reason that actually separates you from any other that they might be creating videos or showing up live or with videos. And of course, I think that you've been sharing several types of content, like video, live, written format. I don't know anything else that you might be creating. So would you like to start by sharing with us how, you came up with this idea? How did everything start with you becoming so popular on LinkedIn with your content?
Well, originally, I remember when I first started. So I did a master's in translation, and there was a module there about the business side of it, and it talked about branding.
What was before the Fully Booked Translator Formula or after?
No, this was before.
Okay, it was before. So you had an idea. Okay, you had an idea when you joined the program.
Yeah. So it's pretty much from like day one. Pretty much, I went out and I got a logo and I got the T-shirt and everything.
You had it. You had it when you joined the program. I think you had your website.
I had it, but I wasn't really showing it. So I wasn't really wearing it. I wasn't,
because you were starting out. Yeah.
But I wasn't really. I was very. It's scary to put yourself out there. So it is, because then you're exposed to all different kinds of things. So you are, and
I never felt this feeling, but I know most of us as translators and interpreters, we have that feeling of fear. I don't know why, but people that they're watching us, definitely they relate with you.
And so so it basically came to the point where it's like, well, if I always hide no one's ever going to see me. I'm not going to have the clients who I want to work with. I'm not going to have the life that I want to have. So it was about trying to do it in such a way then that LinkedIn was great because LinkedIn is just text. So it is, well,
Initially it was text.
It doesn't have to be, but it can. It's a great way of just being text orientated. And for me, that was a way of trying to show a bit of myself, but because your words, obviously how you think and your words that you write are intrinsically connected. So by somebody even just reading your words, they get an idea of like who you are, what you do. And so that was a great start for me. I originally started doing every platform, doing Instagram, Facebook and everything. But I recently realized that it's just too much for, well, for me it was anyway. And I thought, wait, all these people who I actually want to work with are on LinkedIn. So that's where I'm going to focus. And that's where I've put all my efforts. And yeah, so a lot of the stuff that I started to do with the content, I learned initially from the Fully Booked Formula course. And so it was...
I lost you a bit. Can you repeat your last sentence? Because there was a connection interruption. So I lost your last sentence, if you can repeat.
Yeah, I was just saying through the course. So when I started to then actually put content out, I took everything that I'd learned from the Fully Booked translation formula. And so initially just trying to find out who my ideal clients were, creating an avatar, and then finding their pain points, because as we know, even if we look at ourselves, like if we look at the stuff that we react to on LinkedIn and everything, it's the stuff like it's the pain point. They hit our pain points because we engage with them because we're like, may it be how to attract more clients or how to write better posts or better hooks and everything. Those are the stuff that we engage with because they attack our pain points, let's say, or they focus on them. So then I started to then just reverse that, started to focus on my clients' pain points and offer solutions to them. So it was, I see a lot of people.
Can I ask you, what was the turning point when you realized that I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and I'm going, let's say, to expose myself? So what was that moment that actually, because you initially mentioned that you were fearing like this process, then you realized the necessity of doing that, but I missed like what was the turning point that actually made you decide, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be consistent, I'm going on a daily basis to be active on those platforms? Do you remember?
It was, well, in terms of very recently, because after once I finished the course, I've been very intermittent. So I was just sort of doing a little bit and then sort of fell off and then back in again. Because sometimes I was getting work and it was going well, and other times then it's just other things in life just getting in the way.
Exactly. This is our profession as well. I think that's very common in our profession.
Yeah, of course. But then eventually it just became a point where I actually got engaged as well too. So
personal life doesn't stop. Life is always.
So that was a big one as well too.
That's good news.
But yeah, that was actually a big one. So it was like a very personal element. Sort of was a big factor in terms of, right, well, if I actually want to do this, I need to take this seriously, because that was one commitment in my life that it's obviously a very serious commitment, and so therefore I'm like, it was just sort of like an example of like, right, well, why can't I do this with my business as well?
Yeah.
And take the same commitment and be like, really dive on it and let's go for it. Let's go for what we want. And yeah, so that was, I would say, actually probably my engagement. So I've never actually really realized that until I said that now.
You see? The discussion relieves other things that we haven't realized.
Therapy session here. But
sometimes when we engage or we have more commitments in our life, it's a reason to get out of our comfort zone. I always tell my mentees, you don't need to wait to become desperate, or you don't need to wait to have kids, let's say, that you need to feed in order, let's say, to send those messages. You can start before you reach that point. So maybe the feeling that you were getting serious and you had other commitments also made you to get out of your comfort zone and to take the leap, let's say. and the
Yeah.
step. And why I'm asking that is because people are watching us and they're going to watch the replay as well. So I would like this story of yours to be a source of inspiration and motivation to people, that they might be at the same stage like you were back then, and you had that in your mind, but you actually didn't implement, you didn't take action. Okay, and before I interrupted you, you were saying that after the program that you found out who's your ideal client, you focused on their pain points, which is really
Yeah.
clever. And I think people, they should be taking notes right now, because you're revealing very important information, knowledge relating to creating the right content that actually is of your client's interest. Because the most common mistake that I see in translators' content is that they create content that is not of their client's interest, is usually of our interest in our profession. So they attract the interest of other colleagues, but not of their ideal clients. So that what you mentioned, that you focus on the pains of your clients, the solution to that problem of our industry. Now, our colleagues, that they come to me and they're telling, Virginia, I've been sharing on a daily basis on LinkedIn, but I get only likes and comments from other colleagues. Yes, because if the content itself is addressed to other colleagues, is of their interest, you will attract other colleagues. If your content, like Aaron mentioned, is focused on attracting the interest of your idea clients, like mentioning their problems and how you are able to solve those problems, most probably you will be able to attract the interest of your clients. Is that correct, Aaron? That's what you were saying?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things I did was, so the people I mostly work with would be people who work in regulatory affairs. So
Exactly.
the first thing I did was actually look in, like, what is their duties? What do they do? What do you need to do? What do you need to do to become a regulatory affairs specialist? And then when you're in that job, what are your duties and responsibilities? Because those are the things then that will show the pain points. And I then started to look on, because LinkedIn and everything is like a search engine itself.
Exactly. Very
Just search for
structured.
the keyword
Yeah.
of the job, and then
Exactly.
filter by posts. And I actually found something. It was someone else who works within the industry, not a translator, but works within regulatory affairs. They
Okay.
had put up, what's the word? A poll. They had put up a poll about asking what were the greatest challenges within within people who work within the industry. And that was a great insight alone. It was like a gem, so it was like a wee treasure.
Okay.
And that was
You
a good
need to get
insight.
in touch with your clients. Yes, that's a great tip as well. You need to get in touch. You need to be in contact with your ideal clients. That's the only way. It's priceless. The information they're going to share with you can help you to leverage all of your marketing tactics and strategy as a whole. So that's very clever what you're saying here.
Definitely. There was that. Well, when I found that as well, there was also another website. It was actually a website I use, and it's
Yeah.
answerthepublic.com. And
I
it's a good.
remember, you don't need to reveal all the information, but I remember in the
Yeah.
program, we had the Answer the Public in order to be able to find the problems of your clients. That's one
Yeah,
platform among others. Nowadays, there are so many platforms out there.
definitely.
But
It's a
Answer
great
the
tool.
Public, yes, is one traditional one that people, they can actually use or take advantage in order to brainstorm, to come up with ideas of topics. So
Yeah.
up to now, we have described Aaron's path and getting out of his comfort zone, exposing himself with content. We discussed the turning points in his career about content marketing. We discussed his strategy, how Aaron is able to find topics that are of his client's interest. And can I ask you, Aaron, I assume the next question would be, do you get results from that? Like, do you see from your analytics that you actually attract the clients or the audience that you initially had in your mind when you create the content? Because I think that's the main measure of success.
There was, in terms of, it's weird because I think the people who actually within regulatory affairs may not actually engage with posts as much as in LinkedIn, as in they may not comment or they may not like or whatever it may be.
It makes
And
sense.
but the results that I've seen is that they have contacted me and they have said, "Oh, well, I've seen you on LinkedIn and I've seen your posts."
Wow, that's huge.
So,
Amazing.
so that's the ones that I've been receiving. But in terms of, so it can be a bit disheartening sometimes because you're obviously putting out all this content, putting all this effort in. But I know that you're in there for the long haul. You're not there for the short game. So
Exactly. Content marketing is a long-term client acquisition strategy. It's not a short-term, but it really pays off in the long run, definitely, as Aaron mentioned. I would like to show some statistics of yours. Let's see if it allows me here, this tool. I think this one is, let me see, guys, if you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would like to explain what we're seeing here is something that you were generously shared with me.
Yeah. So this is just obviously my analytics, as you can see over the
recent ones, I assume, is not the highest numbers that you were able to achieve. Is the recent statistics of yours?
Yeah. These are the ones over the last 30 days or so.
So what we see here, definitely everything is green. So it means that there is a consistent growth in your content marketing strategy. We see 3.92% increase in your followers, which is very good in the last 30 days. Definitely it's impressive, the fact that you have 30%, over 30% impressions higher, and 115 almost percent higher in engagement. That's the most difficult, because I've seen people increasing followers and impressions, but increasing engagement for me is the most difficult part when it comes to creating content online. It's very difficult to have people leave their jobs all the time and get involved, actually with your content. That's a huge success of yours. Congratulations, Aaron. And of course, the last one is related to profile views, which again is a very good number. It means that people that are checking you out and visiting your profile. And I always really like, because you mentioned that your clients maybe might not interact directly with the piece of content you share, but they contact you. So it means they're sending you messages, or maybe they're checking you out, or maybe they're visiting your website. You never know. My coach used to tell me that the silent people buy. So maybe it's very good as a result for your content to have higher engagement and higher impressions, but actually people they buy might be the ones that might not directly interact with your content. That really makes sense, in my opinion, based on my training that I've gone through. But is there anything else you would like to share about that and how you were able to achieve that? Those results.
I think some of the profile views, I'd focus on that, is actually through commenting as well too. So there are some
engagement. That's what it means. Commenting, sharing, and interacting in general with your content. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of the stuff in terms of, I try to use not just my own content, but other people's content as well as an opportunity to share more of my content in a way. If it's something similar, you'd be like, oh, well, this is something I've talked about before, leave the link. And there's sometimes where I've actually written a comment, and it's not just like, oh, well, thanks for sharing, or, that was great. It's like a genuine, meaningful comment about the topic that the post is about. And
just to start a discussion or to contribute into a discussion in a meaningful way.
And that alone has led to even some more impressions in some of my actual posts. So it has. But these are obviously people that I'm looking out for in terms of people who are within my niche, let's say, or my ideal clients, commenting on their posts and gets more exposure through that way. And I think that alone has led to more profile views, because some people I've messaged asking, once I see that they've looked at my profile, I'll send them a message just asking, is there anything particular that they were looking for or anything?
You also contact them. Amazing.
Yeah. And some people are just saying, I saw your posts or your comment. Some people are just curious. Some people are on the fence about things, and it's a good way to start conversations from that, out of people who I haven't contacted through my messaging strategy or anything like that. So it's going well.
I hope people they're getting notes, because you are telling so many practical things that actually people they can implement and take action right after this call of our today. So thank you for sending your statistics. I have more statistics, but I would like to show people that practically, if you are consistent with your content, if you have a strategy, because what does that mean, strategy? You want to focus on a specific audience and you want to get the results from a specific audience. So you don't post things in general and you expect to get your client's attention. You have your clients in your mind, you have made your research, you know their pain points, and you create content that actually addresses those pain points. And apart from that, what Aaron does, he's also proactive. He doesn't wait the clients to contact him. He's also active, engaging with other people's, content in a meaningful way. And also you mentioned that you directly contact them in case you have seen that they are taking you out. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I'm just summing up what we have already mentioned.
No, definitely.
Great.
I think that's one way for your content to get in front of the right people as well, because obviously the algorithms tries to see who engages with it, and then it'll post out towards that. But if you're contacting a certain group of people, well, then it's going to actually push it out towards those. And if those are your ideal clients, well, then your content's getting in the right place.
Okay. How important do you think is branding? Because you mentioned that before joining the Fully Booked Translator Formula, you had already your website, your logo, your branding colors. Now I see that you go live or you create videos specifically with your logo in your background or your T-shirt or the screen of your PC or your background. So how important do you think that is? And what would be your advice to people that they might be watching us and they would like to get into that, to make them, take the step like you did? What would be your advice? So 2 questions.
So in terms of the branding, the first part, I just thought anything that I've seen in life or anything that has attracted me in terms of a company or anything, it's usually the logo that I remember, or if some sort of jingle or something like that or whatever. So the idea behind the branding was obviously getting the colors and everything. So just even by seeing the logo, or because obviously most of the texts that are posts that I done were text based, that if they saw those that automatically like, oh, this is that guy who talked about medical devices or medical translation previously, something that would just sort of spark something in their mind that might want them to engage again. And just something that makes me stand out even further as well too, because there might be another Aaron out there might be another Aaron Butler out there, but there won't be another Aaron Butler with this logo and these colors. And yeah, that's pretty much why
So how you were able to see other people's branding and made you feel like you would like to bring to your clients and your audience, let's say, aspect. I mean, we have Thiago's question here. I don't know if you would like to answer my second question and then Thiago's question. He says that he's from Argentina, English to Portuguese, Brazilian translator. He would like to know from you, Aaron, how you decided to contact a potential client, and are there any variables that help you to determine if a client needs translation services?
Well,
because you mentioned that you contact clients earlier, and I think that's the question related to what you were saying earlier, that you are actively contacting some clients.
Yeah, well, definitely. The first thing would be their tagline in terms of and their experience. So it's about going into their profile and looking and seeing, first of all, what are their duties and responsibilities? Do they work in a company that I would like to work with? And do they work? Because, I mean, you could have somebody who works within a medical company but has nothing to do with regulatory affairs. So obviously those people are just, you're wasting your time in a sense. And I'm just reading the question here again to make sure. Contacts client.
I think partially you have answered the question. So you're checking out their profile to see if they're working in a company that you're interested in working with. And then?
Yeah, I was just going to say that, I mean, sometimes you don't know if they're going to be your ideal client or not. They might look like it, but you have to try, you have to shoot your shot and let's see what happens, because you never know what will come from it, because they might refer you to somebody else.
Exactly. That's actually what we're teaching in the Fully Booked Translator Formula. You have nothing to lose of contacting potential clients, even if they might not be interested directly in working with you. They might refer you to other potential clients. They might open doors to other potential opportunities. You never know. So I think, Thiago, in your case, is a great question. Thank you for sharing that question with us. And I think Aaron has already answered, but let me know if you would like to delve deeper, if you're satisfied with Aaron's answer. But I would definitely, in your case, Thiago, would go for it. I would contact them, especially if, like Aaron mentioned, they are taking him out. So LinkedIn offers you that filter where you can check actually a feature it is that you can check who has visited your profile. So people that are visiting your profile, it means that they have shown some kind of interest in your service and you. So that's a great opportunity for you to start a discussion. I assume that's correct, Aaron. That's what you do.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, Tiago, let us know if we have answered your question. Getting back to what we were saying about the importance of branding, and what would you say to people that they would like to become like you, but they're afraid, or whatever reason might be, they are not ready to get out of their comfort zone? What would you tell them? Have we completed that question? Is there anything else you'd like to add?
If you're not, it's the same. I mean, you've probably heard it before that, but if you don't go out of your comfort zone, you're not going to grow. So if it depends how happy you are with your current situation. But if you'd like to change it, well, then you need to try it and see what it does. And branding is a definite way of, particularly with the specializations as well too. It's just a way of attaching those specializations to a particular brand, and then if that brand is you, I mean, there's a big push now for personal branding. So there is, and I think this is my way of doing it. So it is. Some people think I'm a company, and they contact me as in like I'm an agency. It's like other translators.
You never know. And as I mentioned, you need marketing. You need to promote yourself as a company. Even if you're a solo pro freelancer, the clients, they want to see you as a company. And if you're a freelancer in marketing, you are a company because you need to make profits. So well, for me,
yeah.
But they believe that you're bigger than you are. I assume that they believe that you're bigger than you are. Is that correct?
Sometimes, yes. There are definitely people out there who think that
maybe it's a sign for you, Aaron. It's a sign for you to move forward and to grow even more.
It could well be. It could well be.
With small steps. Amazing. So let's see other comments here. So let us know, guys, if you have any questions. So Tiago says, thank you very much, Aaron. I'm actually implementing this strategy, and it's great to hear from a colleague that is an efficient strategy. Of course, Tiago, whatever we're discussing here has real examples, so we're not going to tell people something that doesn't really work, and that's why we have Aaron today here, because he is a real example of what we're discussing theoretically. So it brings practical results, and that's what we're here to discuss together, and to inspire people like you that they would like to move forward with their strategy. Amazing. Thank you, Tiago, for being here from Argentina. You see, Aaron, we are an international community. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there is anything else you would like to add related to your content marketing strategy, Aaron?
Not really that I can think of. It's really just sort of sticking with it. It can be, as I said earlier, it can be very disheartening because you may spend like an hour on a post or 40 minutes or whatever it may be, and then you see you don't get much engagement. But that may also be that your client base may not just engage. You know, I mean, a lot of the people that I work with are people who are like directors. You know, and to become a director, you know, usually these people are about in their 50s. You know, sometimes some of these people may not be online. They may be online because their business wants them to be online. So that doesn't mean that just because they don't engage or that they're not there, they're not watching or they're not seeing.
Exactly. I think we mentioned that earlier. The silent people buy. It's something that we need to remember when we create content, that always people are watching you. Even if you see 0 comments or 0 likes, go back to your analytics and see how many people they actually viewed or watched the replay, or how many people. And LinkedIn has great features in analytics that they can show you the job title, the industry, even the location, the sex, and the age of the people they're actually interacting or watching you. Yep. So that's great to know actually if you're doing well, if you're attracting the right audience. Initially you mentioned, Aaron, last question about content marketing, that you started with several different platforms, but you actually decided to focus on LinkedIn at some point. What was the reason? That I know I have an idea, but I would like to hear from you.
Yeah, well, initially I was just posting. Basically, I was just copying every post sort of across.
Yeah. Okay.
So never mind. I've never been time consuming, but I noticed that, you know, a lot of the people who I want to work with are not on these platforms, like on like Facebook and Instagram and everything. People who had messaged me once or twice were people related to maybe marriage certificates or something like that. They were getting married in Spain or whatever. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be able to do that anyway. And it was basically, it's just I wasn't receiving the exposure from the correct people, let's say, and by trying to focus on these different platforms, it was just taking away time that I could spend focusing on the one platform, where I know my clients will be, or my ideal clients, where they are and where they will more likely see me. And yeah, so that's what it was really. And I've seen far better results now that I've actually decided to just focus.
If you focus to one platform, the truth is that it will bring you better results because you are more focused. And as I've been telling to my mentees, you cannot at the same time being on several different platforms. You don't have the time, you don't have the energy. And it makes sense if you're a solopreneur freelancer doing all of that. I have a team for me working right now that they are creating, sharing under my instructions, of course, my content. I use also automation tools in order for me to be able to achieve that. But again, if you're a one person, if you want to be responsible for your content, then ideally you need to choose one, maximum two platforms to focus. And the criteria would be, if you ask my opinion, where your clients are. And if you've been testing several different platforms for a while, to check out which platform actually brings you the best results. I assume that's what you did, Aaron. You saw that LinkedIn brings you best results and you focused on that.
Well, definitely, because mostly like all the other sort of, I don't know. I know LinkedIn's a social platform as well, but I don't see it as. I see the other ones as more of a social platform. People
exactly,
are
and they are
for their friends and everything and stuff, and that's, you can fall into a trap there of, your family and your friends liking your content, but that's pretty much as far as it goes. And
it makes sense.
You want to be looking for more because they're not going to be buying your services.
There are some colleagues that are doing great work on YouTube or maybe on Instagram, but it really depends on the type of clients you would like to attract and also your personality.
Of course, exactly. Just in terms of like people, in terms of myself, medical content,
your own personality,
they're just not. I wasn't seeing the results.
I agree 100% with Aaron, because actually I'm presenting a free course for a week this August, if I am allowed to actually announce that, so people, they can register for free. And I'm actually focusing on creating content on LinkedIn. So it's a great opportunity, our live today, because it's related to what I'm going to present. It's going to be a 4-week course with implementation tasks every week, taking you from creating your strategy, identifying your client's needs, then using tools to find out topics, ideas, and then automation tools and systems just to be able to automate the process and actually schedule the content, because we cannot be on a daily basis on LinkedIn. A very common question I get asked, Aaron, about content creation is when people, they would like to get out of their comfort zone, they're telling me, what if our colleagues or my clients have in their mind that if I'm active on a daily basis on LinkedIn or creating content, I'm not that fully booked, or I'm not that professional because I'm always on social media and I'm sharing content. I've heard that people they actually have such thoughts. I have never had such a thought, but apparently our colleagues, they might be thinking something like that. Have you ever considered, what would you say to those people?
That's not one thing that's ever come into my mind, ever.
Because it's not the truth. Because if it was truth, maybe you had. But if it's not truth, because if you are already fully booked, if you are committed to your work and you just set aside some time for your content creation, it's not the truth. So you don't need to consider things.
It's about being organized with your day-to-day activities. So it is. So, yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I can understand the fear. I wouldn't necessarily agree with it, because I don't think clients.
Me neither. I don't agree.
I don't think clients think that way. It's actually the more information, the more value that you're giving them, they're like, the more pleased they will be, and the more likely they will be to actually contact you. So I don't think that they will be thinking.
But do you use scheduling tools or AI tools, Aaron, yourself?
Yes, I do. I use automation tools, particularly for messaging, and then I check analytics once a week, and then tweak it if I need to be. And
okay, that's about prospecting. But do you use tools about content creation and content sharing or scheduling and so on?
Yeah, so there's things that people have shared, like PDFs and everything that they have shared. So I use them, and then I will just pretty much schedule my posts. I'll think of like 4 or 5 posts for that week, and then I'll schedule them then. So I usually take a Monday. I've started to take a Mondays, sort of less projects on a Monday, so I can focus on my content. And then once the content's done, that's it. done, and then the rest of the week I can focus on projects. It works for me.
Amazing. I think that our today's live was very interesting. I can't even realize that we are already 50 minutes live with Aaron. We've been discussing this topic. Aaron, thank you so much. You gave so practical advice. I hope people, they get that value from you. If you have more questions about Aaron, aaronbutler.com is your website. Can you spell it, Aaron, so I can share it?
Yeah, it's I'll put it on here.
You can share it in our private chat, and I will share it. Yeah.
Butler. I don't know how I can type this in.
There is a private chat. You can share it there, and I will.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Okay. So you can contact Aaron either on LinkedIn, Aaron Butler, as you see his name here, and of course his website is.
Just making sure.
Is butlertranslation.com. I'm sorry, it was wrong. So I'm sharing here our website in case. So there's another question from Dominique. He says, have you ever had to convince potential clients that human translators are better value than AI? It's not our topic, but okay, if Aaron would like to discuss that as well, why not?
I've never had to convince them. A lot of them, I just let them. Some people have said to me, like, can you work on this machine translation, whatever, and I just tell them no. I just tell them I don't work with it, and then what usually happens is I let them. Well, not in a way, I don't let them, but they make the mistake of going through AI or human or machine translation, and in that way you let them make not let them make the mistake, but you let them come to the realization that machine translation is just the quality is just not good, and therefore I've had people come back and tell me, on projects that they wanted me to work on that was machine translation output. But I've turned it down, and then they've come back. I'm actually working on a project now at the moment. It was very like that. So it is. So I don't actually have to ever argue for them. It's usually they realize it themselves, and then they contact me.
Dominique, great question. Can I ask, Dominique, what's your specialization? Because Aaron has medical, for example, and legal. And I think those two, like pharmaceutical, medical, will be the least affected by AI, because when the industry is not budget sensitive and they really focus on high quality, I don't think they're going to integrate AI that fast, because if they're satisfied with the high quality and they have the budget to invest, I don't think they're going to integrate AI that fast. But Dominique, I would really love to know from you, what's your specialization? Because there are some specialization industries that might, Aaron, that might integrate AI faster than others. So in your case, you're safe, Aaron.
Yeah, I would say that, because even with like legal and medical and pharmaceuticals, the stuff that I work, they risk a data breach by putting in through AI or any sort of.
Really?
Yeah, because if they do anything that's open source, they risk data breaches, because sometimes it's patient.
Of course, it's illegal.
Yeah, and it's patient records and everything as well, and maybe it's a new product that they're launching. So there's a risk, unless it's their own personal one, then they can use it. But in general, if it's open source, they risk a data breach and then GDPR and everything like that. So I think the majority of them avoid it.
Are you here with me? I lost you again. There was an interruption. Okay, so it says, Dominique here, sure, I also do legal, but also finance, insurance. I've done a bit of pharma, general business, annual reports. So Dominique, focus on the ones that they really have the budget. And as Aaron mentioned, it's illegal for them to integrate open source AI tools. So that's safer, let's say, way of moving forward nowadays with the recent developments. So let's close our today's live, Aaron, with your experience working with me. I didn't want the whole video to have that aspect, but since you were willing to share that with other people, not many of my mentees, they are willing, to get out of their comfort zone and go live with me. So I would really appreciate for people that are watching us, if you would like to share, let's say, your experience working with me, the fully booked translator formula, and the main takeaways, like something that really helped you to move forward after completing the program, if there is anything that you would like to share.
Yeah, so there was, I think I'll start with the biggest takeaway. The biggest takeaway was about rates. So it was, and it was, I remember someone had asked, what if other translators charge cheaper than me? And you had mentioned.
Oh, really? That's the first time someone tells me that. That's the best. Okay, cool.
I remember you saying, you just said, well, let them. like
Yeah,
let them,
exactly.
because and we'll charge our rates and what we think ours are worth. And I had thought something like that previously, but to hear someone else say it, it was quite refreshing. And since then, I have been relentless in not reducing my rates. So I have, and I've been very
Good for
rigid
you.
with them.
Good for
And
you.
sometimes, obviously, negotiations and everything. But in general, I know the work that I do. I know the effort that I put on. I know what I can do and the value that I bring. So yeah, it's about then actually demonstrating that. So it is, and some of the like through the stuff that you talked about as well in terms of how to circumvent some of like not circumvent, but how to not expose yourself to NDAs, because it's very difficult in our field where
Yeah.
most people are signing an NDA for projects, but then you want
Yeah.
to try and share what you've
Mm-hmm.
actually worked on and everything.
Yeah.
So the tips that you gave and all for that were great. And yeah, there's each, I mean, in terms of what I learned and how I implement the content now is everything that I learned on the course. So it is. So I had seen a lot of stuff, and I had been in contact with people in my local like area, like sort of council, who would give me
Mm-hmm.
like help local businesses grow. But none of
Exactly.
them actually really knew anything about translation and what translation was,
Mm.
and which is fair. Like that's I'm not holding that against them, but to then to where we on a course to actually somebody who knows, who's experienced it all, who's gone through it, and who actually lives and breathes it.
That's
It's
me.
it's quite refreshing. So it is, and then you can ask obviously the questions that you have relating to whatever problems that you're having. And yeah, I think the feedback you give is it's real as well too. It's not just I'm here to. It's supportive, but supportive in the way that it's like, well, if you want to actually achieve X, Y, Z, you need to do A, B, C, and that's very helpful. So it is, and yeah, I'm very thankful to you, even though obviously I signed up to the course myself as well, but nonetheless,
And you
you've
did
been
the
very
work
helpful.
yourself, and you took a step further, even excelling your branding and getting out
Yeah.
of your comfort zone. So you owe to yourself. But it's great what you mentioned, that in the program, even if it's quite innovative, we teach a lot of things that we don't get that knowledge outside of the program. I think what you mentioned, that we don't reinvent the wheel. You might already have that in your mind, but you need someone, as you mentioned, to refresh, that,
Yeah.
or you need someone, to tell you something that you already know. So I think the accountability, the support, and the feedback that you mentioned in the program are the best, let's say, benefits of joining such a program. As recently
Definitely.
someone told me, I'm older than you and I have more experience than you in the field, even if I have 60-plus-year-old people in my program. He
Yeah.
told me that you won't probably teach me something new. So in this program, most of the people that they join, they already know what they need to do. They join this program to refresh, the memory, to get that support that they need to get out of their comfort zone, or the accountability that they need, to take the next step in their career, like Aaron just mentioned. So thank you so much for being honest, Aaron,
Mm.
and sharing your real opinion here, because I really want people to hear from you. What's your real opinion on that? And of course, your takeaway. I don't know, guys, Dominique, Aaron, Stephanie, that you see that you're here live with us. I see people, more people joining us. Let us know if there are any questions related Aaron's story, content marketing, specialization, of course, the fully booked translator formula. I have left the link in the chat in case you would like to take a look at. And I also have shared Aaron's website if you would like to take a look at Aaron's great branding. Don't imitate people, just be inspired by other people's success, so as to be unique yourself and to come up with your own ideas and your own branding and your own way to differentiate yourself from other people. That's the main idea of going live with you, Aaron, today. So last question would be related to the fully booked translator formula. What would you say to people that might be considering that's quite an investment and they are sitting on the fence, let's say, joining or not? Is there anything would you say to those people that they would like to become like you, but for any kind of reason they're holding themselves back?
It's just exactly what I said earlier. It's a very cliche thing to say, but you don't grow in your comfort zone, so you need to get out of it. And
Exactly.
yeah, so it all depends how happy you are with your current situation. if you're happy with it, but then that's perfectly fine.
Of course, you're
But if you're
100%
also not,
happy.
then you need to be. Well, then you need to take action. And
Or you can be happier, even happier, you know.
yeah,
You
yeah,
might
of course,
be
of
happier
course,
than, you know,
of course.
keep growing, let's say, or getting or scaling up or getting to the next step. It really depends on where you stand right now. Thank you so much, Aaron, for being here live with me, for getting again out of your comfort zone, for sharing special tips that people they can get away with those tips of today's live. If you're watching the replay, use the hashtag replay and tag me or Aaron if you have any question. Of course, you can find Aaron Butler on LinkedIn as well and through his website that I have said here in the chat in case you have any questions about content marketing, his services, and of course the fully booked translator formula. Before we close, I would like to share for those that they would be interested in learning more about content marketing, since I'm hosting a 4-week free course, it's totally free of charge, no strings attached. You can sign up through the link that you see here going through, and in the chat is a 4-week program, and we're going to discuss about how to generate ideas, how to find the value that you offer to your own audience, and tools, practical steps to take in order for you to be able to create content even if you might not have enough time. So I have created such a course for people that are already busy, they're already fully booked, and they would like to find methods and tools so as to integrate content marketing in their daily or weekly activities. So if you would like to sign up or if you have questions, let me know in the chat or contact me directly. Aaron, do you like to add anything before we close? That was it. We're already 1 hour.
Yeah, no, thanks very much for inviting me on. And yeah, it's just whoever's listening, just to go for it. Just to go for it, and you never know what'll happen.
Exactly. Only good things happen when you get out of your comfort zone and take the next step. Only good things. Only a step closer to our goals. That's what I've seen. And keep going, Aaron. I really admire your activity. And I think you are pioneer because I haven't seen any other colleague with so consistent with his branding, t-shirts, logo, everything so organized when you create videos. So if guys you would like to be inspired by someone who creates great videos and content on LinkedIn, you can check out Aaron's profile and recent activity to find out more on how he is able to increase like by 115% engagement to his posts. Amazing. So thank you, everyone. See you again. Bye-bye for now. Aaron, you stay here with me.
Yeah, no problem.